Action! Of the various one-offs and series produced by Beacon over the last 40 years, definitely the best known and popular was The Adventures of Stephen Brown. Of the 1,050 productions made right up until this instalment, 1/3 of that total can be made up from that sci-fi show. So this instalment of Banter Gold, we'll hear the opinions and anecdotes from the actors who played the part of Stephen Brown. And we'll start right at the beginning. Me. Back in 2008, I was interviewed by Anne Hampton, who asked me about my return to the role for the 20th anniversary special 2020 Vision. And by the way, if I look a little bit preoccupied in this clip, it's because Anne was watching me very intensely as I attempted to make a croque monsieur.
Did you enjoy reprising your role as Stephen Brown?
Yeah, I really did. Actually, I enjoyed the whole. I was directing the story, so it was quite quite a lot to think about. Sort of thinking of camera angles and getting everybody back. But the whole atmosphere was what I wanted. It just felt an anniversary story, a lot of reunions, and I was really pleased with the outcome of it.
Having done that once this time, would you like to do Stephen Brown again?
I'd do a one-off. Yeah, I quite enjoyed it. In fact, Keith. Did you know that the butter's one side of the...
Yeah,
that's right,
yes. Yes, I'll be telling everybody about that in a minute, so
okay.
Don't jump ahead of yourself.
Sorry. Keith and I really enjoyed... We were the longest gap to come back, because it had been about 11 or 12 years since we'd done our characters together. And we said afterwards, I'd really like to do a story like this.
Trigger hair, grey hairs, I don't think...
Yeah, and I've got more hairs than Keith.
Yeah, that's true.
You want me to cheese it up?
Yeah, so next thing...
I can cheese it up.
Ready sliced cheese makes it nice and easy.
Right.
So cheese on top of mustard.
I have got clean hands, just as well.
So you do copy that.
Right.
You enjoyed the role of Stephen Brown, you know, a major figure. You enjoyed that.
Yeah, I came to it sort of quite early. I wasn't in the club for that long at all before I was Stephen Brown, and I enjoyed it enormously. But I think if I'd have come to it a few years later, I'd have done it differently, hopefully better, and I'd had more idea about sort of what to give to the part. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed being Stephen Brown.
It was strange to begin with, and doing things like the spaceship in the loft and things like this. It was difficult to get used to that, but once you had got used to where you were meant to be and what you were meant to be doing, it was really enjoyable. And I went from thinking I was in a loft to eventually agreeing that yes, I could well be on the bench.
Bit of imagination. Yeah. I mean, you were probably more than any other member I can think of thrown in completely at the deep end. Everybody else who's played like a companion or Stephen Brown himself, which is a big responsibility or commitment, have at least done some other bits and pieces before.
Yes, yeah. I went
within
from
about a month, wasn't it?
I'd gone from doing about I think it was only the one scene I'd done at the social club, and then you said to me, "We've got this series, we've got a gap. Did you want to fill it?" And I went for it and
jumped in.
I was happy to. But yeah, I think I did. I started off on the deep end, and I got heavily involved in the club, and then I think the interest dropped off a bit. Since I've been at university, obviously, it's been very difficult to do anything, but I've enjoyed coming back and doing parts. It's been really nice, actually, to go from the pressure of doing a main part like that to now being able to do different characters each time. Yes.
What was it like filming your final story, which was Nemesis, I think, with Rob was the death, wasn't it? It was the first story you did as the death.
Yes, I remember we were over Brown Down, is it, in Gosport? And there were deodorant cans in fires, there were explosions, all sorts. No, I really enjoyed that. And the character of the death I always found very interesting. If anything, I'd have wanted more interaction with him, and I think for my benefit, maybe I should have done more research and watched more old episodes to get more of a flavour of the relationship between the characters.
Since then,
I think that's one of the things as well with the character playing with the person playing the death changing as well. He brought something new to it, just as each Stephen Brown has brought a little something new to it. Be it skinniness, campness, suaveness, you know.
Really, Stephen Brown, the series, came to the fore. And did you have any early memories of saying, I want to do that job, or was it something that just morphed into it?
Particularly, no. I mean, when Stephen Brown came back in 1998 with Josh doing, and everyone was kind of happy with Josh. It was very different sort of side of it. And the way I got involved with it, I was doing a play for the local youth theatre, just playing Mr. Toad, and Steve said he had an idea of
I remember that.
how he said that way of doing Toad would be great to do for sort of Stephen Brown. So I had no real kind of desire, aspirations to be the lead character. You know, I'd always sort of thought lots of other people did it much better than I could ever do it. So I just kind of got on with it, and I think we all grew and learned at the same time. So because it's one of these roles that when you come into Beacon, you hear about Stephen Brown, and you think, what is this? And when I came in, you were playing Stephen Brown. I thought, oh, you know, it's like it's the peak of Beacon.
And you've been in the character quite a while now. And how long?
Just nearly 3 years. So I've finally got established. And
Highs and lows.
Low was probably starting because it's really difficult taking on a part. I mean, I take it from Josh as well, and you want to make it like your own thing. And
Chris Wilkes played the part of Stephen Brown for many years, and here in 2001 he was interviewed by Duncan MacDonald, who tried to discuss the part with him. However, as you will see in this clip, the whole interview descended into chaos, the interruption of a very strange sound.
No, Josh is good. He's a very sort of methodical thinker sort of guy. Right. And he took the sort of the philosophical aspect of Steve Brown, whereas my interpretation is the more the crazy, wacky, quirky sort of Stephen Brown.
So do you see Josh as being closer to, say, Pertwee, and you're closer to, say, Baker, perhaps?
Well, Josh is camp, Pertwee is camp. Yeah, but I do Pertwee fun better than Josh.
Yeah. Because Baker, I mean, I don't want to sort of draw comparisons to Doctor all the time, but Baker was quite sort of wacky and eccentric. And are you based it on that in any way, or...?
I did pinch a couple from William Hartnell, but I borrowed from most of the Doctor Who that I've seen, actually. And just
you borrowed from Doctor Who?
Yeah, I've also borrowed from Wind in the Willows as well, so...
From what?
Wind in the Willows as Toad.
Wind in the Willows?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I saw a clip of that on TV. This is a strange story, when I was around Steve's house, and I thought it was... What the hell is it? I thought it was David Copperfield. There's this bloke in David Copperfield called Mr. Dick who types codes. And I saw this clip of Mr. Toad, and I thought it was David Copperfield. So I went, what an heavy garbage, and it was Mr. Toad. Too young.
It's obviously it's the most recognisable thing I've done in the group, and because you're filming as we were then, week in, week out, because the club had shifted from just doing, say, Strawberry Fields, so maybe 1-2 nights a week, and then every Sunday we're doing a big production basically of Stephen Brown. So you do 4 Sundays to film a story, then that's done, and then you're doing another one, and that would go on all year for 4 or 5 years, and so you get to see and meet everybody in the group. And if you don't want to see someone for like 6 months, and suddenly you'd be seeing them every Sunday.
What was your reasons for leaving that first point and thinking, actually this is fun, but what do you think?
We were filming Terror on the Moon, which I think was May time, and ridiculously hot, for unseasonably hot around then. And I was directing it, I'd written it, we built this massive set, and there's a lot going on, lots of costumes and sort of moving parts within the particular production. And I couldn't concentrate on the acting and do the directing and bits of filming and all the rest of it. And I thought, I've just had enough, actually.
You need to step down while you're still enjoying it, otherwise you don't know.
It became a bit much.
It was learning lines as well. It was like you just were frustrated at just doing. I think it is too much.
Yeah, because we would be filming like, a 2-part story, so 50 minutes, so like an hour's worth of footage, and so these scripts are like 50 odd pages long, and you'll bar maybe 1 or 2 scenes, you're in all of it, and then you learn all that, and then you dump it, and then pick up the next one and do that. So I think it was the right thing to do as well, because there's also how much can you really do.
But you enjoyed it, I think, when you came back, didn't you? You had a new lease of life.
Fresh legs, I think. Yeah, I think it's what I needed really was a break, because we were just constantly rolling, and we were doing Beacon Banter and
Doorstops,
Strawberry
Field,
Fields, all at the same time, and you're working as well. And I just finished college, so you're working full time. I had 2 jobs,
Yeah.
just moved out of home, so there's loads of stuff going
I
on.
think
and we
looking-
were doing TV12 stuff as
I
well.
think looking back, it's utterly ridiculous.
It's
I
mental.
cannot
Like I had
believe
2 days off a week, as
stupid
most
volume.
people do. On the Thursday, we go to TV12 to do like 12 to 15 hour day over there with the commute, and then on Sundays we film all day.
I don't know how. When people say they can't fit something in on a, like, I don't know how we did. And it was. I think you just.
It
The way I
becomes
look
your
back
normal,
at it, you
so
just
it's
get
just-
into this flow,
yeah.
and it just became like that. But I wish we hadn't done as much as I do regret doing as the volume of it. But it just became that, and we had a too stupidly big a membership to try and keep everybody active.
I did enjoy it, and it was a great laugh. It really, really was. And particularly when we got my brother came in as well, and Sarah was there. Like I've known Sarah since I was 5 years old, anyway. So it was just it was a really good team, and everyone was in kind of high spirits. And same with like yourself and Matt and John behind the camera, as well. There was a good lot of us making this stuff week in, week out.
That week in, week out workload took its toll on Chris, naturally enough. And eventually, a new Stephen Brown was sought. And we crafted and revealed the surprise face on Beacon Banter.
2004, of course, you leave university in May time, and
have
then
to get a real job now.
Yeah, you come down this way. You got your script editing, and then lo and behold, what happens to you next? Big dramatic drum roll out on Beacon Banter.
Yes, I'm taking over the role of Stephen Brown.
I know. This is the first time,
Wow.
Stephen. Yeah.
It's news to me.
Yeah.
First time I've heard it.
as well.
Yes. So, Beacon Banter exclusive. See, on the last ever episode, that's the exclusive news. So, how did that part come about?
I'm not entirely sure. I think you and me were getting drunk on a ferry, and I said, "Oh, I wouldn't mind," because I think we were talking about Chris was thinking about leaving, and I said, "Oh, I wouldn't mind playing the part," and you went,
And that's
really?
right. You said that, and then I was sick.
All over my new shoes.
But yeah, Chris had said, like, you know, his time was nearly up with the show. He'd been doing it for a while, and it was like, there is somebody as a fallback, because good old Chris, he was going to keep going until somebody else would step in.
Yeah.
Then you went through some arduous auditions, didn't you, back in November?
Yes.
Completely secret. Only the regulars
Closed
knew.
set.
Yes. What was that like?
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't really sure what to expect. So I just came in, tried some lines. There was a small audience going, not sure about that. And then you said, right, leave. And you had a nice intimidating chat whilst I was stuck getting out of costume. And it was afterwards when you said, oh, wait, you can come back in now. And you went, you've got the part. And I just went completely blank. I was like, oh, thank you. And it didn't sink in until about 4 hours later. And I suddenly went, oh, I'm Stephen Brown.
So, Josh, any advice apart from don't do it, you mad fool?
I'd say, as much as you enjoy your writing, don't try and do it at the same time, because it's difficult to be objective, especially when you really fancy the script you've written. So I'd say stick to the acting, but it's a brilliant part to play.
Thanks, Josh. Yeah, I mean, it's also, you're like Josh in the fact that not many people know, well, they know you, but they've not seen you doing very much, so it's in at the deep end.
Yeah.
The costume.
Yes.
We'll have some stills which are coming up during this interview of you in costume, but just give us a brief description of it.
It's basically a long blackish coat with an interesting, I think it's crushed velvet shirt. There's a rather tasteless pattern of red and
keeps grimacing there. He's got
and
one in the
brown
wardrobe.
stripes and a pair of red trousers and my good old pair of boots, which are about knee-length Dr. Martens that I used to wear.
What are you looking forward to most from the role?
I don't know. This is the chance to act. 'Cause I haven't acted since I was at school, which is a good 4 or 5 years ago now. And so it'll be interesting seeing if I still can.
And the good thing is when you got the part is Sarah and Nick, and particularly
they were really
Sarah,
helpful.
Yeah, very enthusiastic. So
Alas, the plan of 2 years in the role turned out to be just 8 months and a rather abrupt departure. But who better than Chris to rescue the show from a potential crisis?
I haven't spoken to you since you retook the role of Stephen Brown
No.
off from Mr.
Lambourne.
What was that like to take on the part? And do you think you played the part differently?
I wanted to go back to it, actually. I think I really, really wanted to give it up. all that time ago, back in 2003, and then leaving it in 2004 was quite sad. But then when Lamborn was doing Space Kingdom, which I think was the story you first came along, Steve, I thought, I really want to be in this story. I looked quite exciting. And then we carried on with the rest of the series, and that was all right, and I was quite happy just taking pictures and producing. But when he gave us all that notice of 9 days to say, I'm not coming down to, we had like three stories ready to go, I thought, well, who's going to do it? And we'd talk about stopping it, is someone going to take it, shuffling it around, and I thought, I quite like it actually, I'll give it another go. And so taking it back was really nice. It felt familiar, it felt good. It's nice working with Ben and Emma. They're different companions, both very good in their own right, for their own characters. I was very happy with it.
Yeah, you mentioned about producing. You produce with Old Big Nose as well, don't you?
Matthew.
Yeah. What delights have we got this coming series? Because I know we have a few scripts. We have a few script writers around the table.
We do, yeah. It's like the script writers meeting.
Yeah. It being the 20th anniversary, are there some surprises or some special stories coming up?
Well, there is the 2020 Vision special untelevised story. It's going to be treated as a full made-for-TV story, but it'll probably get released eventually. But it's kind of bringing together a lot of the old Stephen Browns. You're back. Josh is back.
A lot of companions.
A lot of old companions. Catherine Cairns is back. Matt's back as Yuri. Gemma's back as Aggie. Key's back as Porter.
It's going to confuse a lot of people, the storyline, I think. And copyright.
No, it's just a rip-off of an old Doctor Who thing, isn't it? 5 Doctors thing, but it's going to be fun. It's good. It's got a nice, simple storyline, and I think it'd be really different for us.
So you two together, I mean, how much screen time do you think you've shared?
I don't know.
Hours and hours and hours and hours.
Weeks. Days, yes.
Because, ladies and gentlemen, we've got Stephen and Lizzie Brown together as I breathe. I can't believe it. Do you remember 23 and a half years ago when we did the first thing for local TV, and you two playing the lead parts? What was it like? I mean, to try and explain to members who weren't around at that time, what was the whole...
Pretty exciting.
It was exciting. It was quite stressful sometimes.
I didn't think that stressful. I think it was a lot more focus, and I think it certainly tightened us up as a group. And because we had done like a bit of script and stuff with like Tales of the Unexpected, and those sort of projects. But to go from mainly doing Strawberry Fields, we're just messing around with your mates in the woods, and that was fun. You did 4 series together of Stephen Brown. Any memories from that time? I know it was a long time ago. Is there anything that sticks in your mind? It was a lot of hungover Sunday mornings. There was a lot of parties the night before. We would do a very large filming day. What do you reckon is, and I wanted to ask you both this, what's the silliest thing you've ever been asked to do for Beacon?
Oh my God.
And maybe that was a bit of
a handle and flipping end of January, early February. Yeah. So actually I showed somebody recently that the slugs invade, and they could not believe, first of all, that we got 2 people to go into the handball. And then I said, oh yeah, it was February. It was like freezing cold. Wetsuits or anything like that. No. It was just like go out there.
And then Bundy, Tony and Angie there with a hip flask.
You can see me going in and I'm like holding my hand. My hands are blue, and I'm walking in there going like, yeah, this is what I need to do to get winched up on the graphic thing. And I'm like with Pete, and what are you doing? What about you?
Yeah, I'm not sure that I've been asked to do anything that's particularly stupid. I've done lots of stupid things without meaning to, like crawling through silly tunnels that have collapsed on me and things like that. But I don't necessarily think you've ever asked me to do anything.
I think
you
decided. Yeah, coffee table that collapsed. Yes. In 2006, Stephen Brown number 7 stepped forward in the form of Ryan Brady. Believe it or not, it's 15 years since you first stepped into Beacon. That's quite scary. I think it's 16 years, but I think it was 15 years you started to get quite active. Yeah. And took on the role of Stephen Brown. Around about 15 years to this day that you first... Okay. What are your memories? Because I'm going to take you back in time.
That's a long time, yeah. A lot of weight change, I think.
You kind of went up and then back down.
Yeah, thank God I went back down. I don't think I would have gotten any sets. Yeah, it was interesting. I think the trips that we took were more memorable.
Did it feel like a blur at the time?
Yeah, it was just so much crammed in, wasn't there? 'Cause I suppose it was Sunday after Sunday after Sunday. I don't miss those. No. I think because if I was just acting and I wanted to act, I would have maybe got more out of it. But because it was other things, I was like production stuff that I was getting involved with. They are more memorable to me than the acting part of it. The acting part of it, I just did it. I thought it'd be an easier way to escalate my role, so to speak, in Beacon, because I started out as a camera operator, like anybody. I like, you know, filming, but I kind of like the post. But you guys wouldn't let me get behind any of those, any of that footage, until I suppose had some kind of influence, and I thought that might just do it. It kind of worked.
Were you surprised to be chosen? Did you know, or did you always think that that was a role for you?
I was surprised actually. I didn't think I was. I suppose I was their camera for a bit, so their cameraman, and then I kind of did a bit of vision mixing, a bit of other stuff. I thought, well, I could never act. Never. Well, I can't, but but it was just one of the last. I thought, well, I'll give it a go. I suppose. I mean, Chris could play it well. But he's very theatrical anyway, and quite technical. But I mean, I'm quite technical. I just can't grasp acting. But then I thought I'd just push myself, just do it. I'm pretty sure if I can learn a few lines, and if I can do that, I'm pretty sure acting will just come in later on.
How did you handle keeping it quiet? Because it was all very hush hush, wasn't it?
I don't know. I just didn't get reminded too much that I was doing it, because I am doing Stephen Brown in a couple of months' time. Oh yeah, I suppose I am. And it went really quickly.
Yeah, because
so.
I remember watching that episode, and the hint was there, and I just couldn't quite realise it, and suddenly at the end there you were standing. I don't believe that's the new Stephen Brown, and I like the look because it's similar to the way you were when you first turned up. It's slightly gothic, isn't it? Cause,
yeah.
Yeah.
I designed the set, so
yeah.
you can see. It was nice to be. I'm surprised Matt didn't tell you actually. After all that time, I thought he may have hinted out or something, because he was obviously editing the.
Oh no, Matt being Matt, he never tells us anything.
What were the highlights of your genre of Stephen Brown? You obviously enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I think obviously the first series I was obviously a lot nervous because I was trying to match up to Chris's character, and everyone obviously loved him as Stephen Brown for many years. But towards the second series, I think I started to sort of come out of myself, and when the ship and everything changed, it started to be my own.
It was your part, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I sort of owned it after that, and the third year it was just kind of mellow, and I sort of knew the character in and out. So
I was going to say, and did you find that the script writers were sort of changing the style of the script to suit you as well? I mean, did you find that got easier?
Yeah, in the end, I think I learned to adapt to the scripts. Before, I think I just sort of read off them, and I was still thinking of Chris and how he'd play the character. But then, sort of after a while, I just adapted to what I would probably say as Stephen Brown.
Yourself, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
So, of course, now that you're not taking that main lead of Stephen Brown, you've got an opportunity to move into other areas and try out different things. What have you got going at the moment? Is it Shadow Revelation?
Well, that was something that you wrote and directed, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's really hard actually. 'Cause it wasn't very many cast members in it. I think that was sort of to make the workload a little bit less.
Do you think, in hindsight, doing the two at once for your first go, was a lot?
In at the deep end?
It was horrible. I hated it. Bless Paul. I mean, there were obviously we had to keep writing the script around because I think Scott left halfway through, so we already filmed scenes with him in it, and then we had the news that he wasn't going to be joining us anymore, so we had to sort of kill him off. But then it was another 3 weeks delay, and then obviously Hazel and Katie went on holiday, so we couldn't film that. So it was just all these delays going on. It was very stressful, but in the end, I think it turned out to be better than we hoped, really.
In 2010, Beacon Banter asked some of the members which celebrity could play the new Stephen Brown. Some very interesting choices cropped up.
It'd be interesting to see Johnny Depp play Stephen Brown, I think.
Is that guy who played James Bond? The latest
Daniel
one?
Craig.
That's the one. Beautiful man.
Alan Rickman would be quite good. That'd be quite nice. Actually, is it Paul McGann? Richard E. Grant would be good.
No, it has to be tall, dark. Not Steve. Tom Hanks.
Put Jason Statham in there just to mix it up a bit.
I was thinking about that, Jason Statham. Well, there you go. Few views on who should be celebrity playing Stephen Brown. We've got Ben and Nat here. Who would you like to see playing it? I mean, older, younger? Somebody musical or from the films? What would you think?
I think from somebody very old that they won't know, Alistair Sim. He'd make a really,
Alistair Sim would be
make
great,
a really
you know.
wacky Doctor Who.
There's only about John Sams that's going to watch this that'll know who we're talking about.
Yeah.
But other than that,
That's a really difficult one.
Yeah.
It's like Samuel Jackson, something like that.
yeah, I was
yeah.
wondering.
I was
That'd be
thinking
pretty
Will
cool.
Smith.
Really sort
Will
of
Smith would be
inquisitive.
good at it as well.
Yeah.
I think.
Very good.
But some of the television ones as well.
Actually, if I was going to
Yeah.
turn, like, we have recently in Beacon, turn her female, somebody like Victoria Wood would pay enough.
Yes, yeah.
Judy Dench.
Judy, yeah. She's
Dot Cotton.
very-
Yeah.
Dot Cotton. Oh no, then that's getting ridiculous.
Jude Brown. Captain Mannering.
Stephen Brown VIII was, of course, Stuart James, and he fondly looked back over his 4-year stint in the role that he took over from Ryan Brady. Now, you've said in interviews before about when you first took the role on, because you didn't know anything about acting, you could lose yourself in the part because your Stephen Brown, had lost his memory as well, so as he built up.
So all that bumbling about, that was all great acting.
Yeah, method acting.
Yeah.
But as the series went on, I mean, you both did 4 years. I mean, your last year you did as we had to twist your arm behind your back to do the 4th year, while we found a Stephen Brown. But did you feel that you did get better and more confident with the part and it changed?
Yeah, once you know what you're doing, you know what you're doing. But at the beginning, you're like, well, how am I supposed to be someone else, and how would they react to this and that, and would I really say that? Well, I don't know. And then after a while, you can be like, oh no, he wouldn't say that, or this is how you do it, and you just roll into it.
Do you think you got much? I mean, this is both of you actually. Do you both think you got much direction from us, me and Chris, and people like that, of how to play the part? Or do you think you're like, away you go, there's your lines, go and do it?
Kind of that. I think you just basically, because you try and model after the previous one, so I had Chris and unfortunately Stu had me. So it's just you.
But you tried to be different, right?
I tried to be different.
Yeah.
I just ended up being more wooden.
Yeah.
And it just didn't really work. I think what made my character only slightly interesting was because he had powers, but that was about it. And I had to insist that you put that in on that character because I didn't think I added anything else to it.
But it's strange because certain people, like if you speak, like Will Gammon, for example, he joined when you were playing Stephen Brown. You're his Stephen Brown. He thinks you're the best one, and he remembers. And like
It's
Matt
very
Hampton,
nice.
Matt Hampton always says he loves the way you play the part. He just liked that magic stuff. When you talk to people who come in with Stu, they'll go and say, in general, will always say like you, Matt Station.
See, the first one I watched was Chris Wilkes, and so for me, it's always been Chris.
Yeah. So there is something about that as well. But I think you
obviously
obviously
era. That was just the first.
And that's all I saw on TV and stuff, and it was Chris.
Yeah.
Because he played it so long, it was almost like that was Stephen Brown.
And that's really
But
difficult to
that's
follow.
how I wanted to do it. I wanted to, because he was a bit eccentric, and I wanted to just go real weird with it.
Yeah.
So that's what we tried to do.
And you definitely did go weird.
Yeah.
And then
we had to be different from Ryan. Ryan was like straight laced with magic. I was like, I'm just gonna be a weird guy.
And that last, I thought you did, because I thought you did the real serious, you did the funny stuff really well, but some of the serious stuff you did, and then at the end, I don't know if you can remember, but the last filming day, we were both there, but the studio was crammed full, and you had these massively long, intense speeches to do, where you suddenly had all this power, and you didn't know how to unleash it, and so on.
Yeah, it kind of rings a bell.
But does that feel like, do you think you gained a lot of confidence, self-confidence playing the part? Because you wouldn't have been able to do that.
The longer you do anything, the better you get at it, and then you're, I could read these lines off, and like I say, I could act like this person's supposed to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
How would you get worse?
Jaded, you could become quite jaded with it, or
fat.
Yeah, you didn't become fat. Fat. No, just like more cuddly.
Well, I had to upgrade the ship halfway through to accommodate
It
is started bulging in the middle.
It is actually ironic that when you stopped playing the part, we went to a much bigger studio.
It was in that tiny garage.
I don't know if you remember, but in here, when we first, so Stu had his venture was quite big, but the first filming date was almost 10 years ago. This studio's 10 years this month, and we all, like John was there on sound, I was there camera, there was Stu, Catherine and Chris, and we all found ourselves huddled, still acting. We forgot, we can move over there, but we just were so ingrained in this small space.
Yeah.
So he didn't want to do his final year, but he did. Yeah. You were happy carrying on. Would you, if there'd been more series after that, would you have carried on, or would you go, no, I've done.
It was getting a bit much to do 4 years every Sunday. Because there were times when a few of the main cast were just like, oh, not today.
Yeah.
If you were to say, right, I'm going to write a standalone, non-canon Stephen Brown story where you bring everyone in and we just, I'd do that.
It's weird. I think the show ran, because a couple of people have said to me, would you bring it back? And I just don't see how it could come back, because it was just a quirk of its time. There was a load of us, it was people weren't married and have kids, they were of an age where they could give up all this time. And I look at it now thinking, how the hell do we do as much as we did? Too much, I think, but it was trying to keep the club momentum going.
I think it was established,
yeah,
like you say, with the few people that could do it, and then anyone who new came in was like, oh, this is the standard, so you meet the standard.
I think there'd be people to act in it. You'd need 10, 15 people for the scripts, the costumes, the sets, the graphics. And I think if you had 10, 15 people who didn't have families, who were that age, who could put the time to it, then I think it would be great to do. And it'd be, but it's just, it's so, I mean, we do 80 Degrees, we do 7 episodes a year, we do other stuff, and that's time consuming enough.
Yeah.
Like, how? I just don't know.
You'd have to make it all about Stephen Brown. You couldn't do anything else if you wanted to keep that sort of momentum going, or at least revive it completely. Because I don't know how anyone
did, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's just.
When did we do Ninth Man? Was that like in between?
Yeah, we were doing. I mean, that was
was
as
in
well.
place of Doorstop.
Doorstops, yeah. And also we did the first series of Ninth Man. We eased back on Stephen Brown a bit to give it time. But again, I think Ninth Man suffered because Stephen Brown just took over.
You got to put
so
everything
much.
into it. Yeah.
No amateur club makes a sci-fi.
No.
And they're probably for that reason, because it's just they're too intense. But I think it was pulled off really well.
Yeah, I'm just really proud of them still. I mean, some of you think, oh god.
I don't know, if you're going to do low budget, sci-fi is a good one because you can really lead into the
Yeah,
fact
well,
it's
you
low
can't. You have to
budget.
give much context.
Yeah. That's it.
So what was it like for you watching him take over the part? Were you like, oh, that's my series?
Massively relieved. Well, I was, because no one was coming forward and wanted it. So thank you for that.
That's true, yeah.
I saw it as, I use that as like a no negotiations, you're going to boost your confidence now, you're going to have to learn these things, get in the deep end or whatever they say. So yeah, I just did that. Plus it was written to the guy, he had amnesia, he didn't have a clue what was going on anyway, so it worked perfectly for me. So if you watch them first few episodes, or the first whole year or whatever it is, it looks like, well, hopefully it looks like, oh, that guy's a really good actor. But really, I'm playing the character because I ain't got a clue what I'm doing. He's not got a clue what he's doing, So that was another safety blanket that was there for me. Nothing was expected of me. It just was what it was.
So you did enjoy it in the end when you sort of got into it?
Yeah, man. Yeah. I don't think there probably were moments where I was like, oh, why have I said yes to this? But like I say, I said yes so that I couldn't say no. Yeah, no regrets. All life experiences lead to where you are, innit?
So what was your favourite storyline with Stephen Brown?
So I don't really have a favourite, because it's about the experience. I've got good memories from all sorts of it. Plus it's all disjointed. The way you film isn't just chronologically and then boom, that's done. So they all kind of run together. If I could pick one out, it'd be like the location ones. Like we went to Cornwall, that was good. We had a good time. Sun was out. We had quite a big cast. But anything on location, and then I was going to say, oh no, but that's a lie, because anything on set, just in general, innit? Yeah.
Generally enjoyed it all.
Yeah, in general, enjoyed it all.
Favourite companion?
Favourite companion, if I'm being fair, I liked the Chalice and the Catherine era. I liked having an android. That was a good character. The Chalice character was good. Obviously I like Scott and I like Gemma, but Scott's character pissed me off a little bit. Just like, but then that was my character was supposed to be stupid and eccentric anyway, so it's like, what the fuck am I talking about? And Gemma's was a school teacher, which again is like, nah, they're all good, man. They're all good, like I say, in their own ways, different eras. They got different feels to them, And probably because we knew the series was closing towards the end, I have more positive feelings associated with the first part. But that's just through that, I think. Like everything was new and whoa, And then when you know something's coming to an end, you always feel a bit like.
That sort of rolls into my next question. How did it feel for you being the last Stephen Brown?
Basically that. you just feel, you know, things are coming to an end, and you can't help but have those certain feelings. But it's like, it's still a good thing. You still put positives on it. You still try and have a good time. Everyone knows this already, but the one thing that got to me about the end of the series was that all my companions weren't there, man. Like, we all get together, all the Stephen Browns were there. They had their main companions. I know some people were missing. I think Chalice, for example, was not in the country. You know, like, shit happens. I get it. Catherine had a baby, but it just sucked that they couldn't be there, man. That for me, that was just the wrap up. Look, we're all together. This is what we've done. With it's closure, innit? You're putting an official end to it. And I don't feel like I ever got that, just because they weren't there. That was it. Everyone else was.
The pressure of time was one of the reasons why the Adventures of Stephen Brown came to an end. But it was a wonderful show to work on, and one that is fondly remembered all these years later. But until next time, farewell!